Welcome to Preserving Our Oral History. Today we are featuring Lloyd Andrews, well known as Teacher Lloyd, but I just call him Grandpa.
Yes, in the Caribbean, we have two main groups of Amerindians, the Arawaks and the Caribs. The Arawaks apparently came and met the Caribs, and they came across from the mainland of North America, but we're not too sure where they started. But they met the Caribs here in the Caribbean, and well, after they began to face each other, they became enemies, and the Caribs, being a kind of a warrior tribe, was given the advantage of getting rid of the Arawaks. So the Arawaks were always on the run, and they ran from the Caribs from island to island in the Caribbean until they had no more islands, and they came across to South America. Now the Arawaks, being accustomed to being near by the sea because they're mostly fisher people, they live off the sea, and so we have quite a lot of settlement along the coastal area of this country, because from the Caribbean islands, it was easy to see the mainland from there and knew that they can reach it. So they paddled their canoes, got their families, and came across to the mainland. They settled the forest along the northwest coast, and they eventually spread along there, followed the coast and traveled along the seashore, and they tried several rivers. We still have Arawaks in the Pomeroon, in the Demerara, and that's in the west. But in the central section, which we have Maikoni, Maiko, and Demerara, we have one main village in each river. And in the Barbies, we had some small settlements. The further east, the Barbies area, we had smaller settlements. Now, it's a mystery, really. Well, I did say that they may have come from the Caribbean. So it means that they traveled along the the islands, and after they were chased out by the Caribs, they arrived at on the coast of Guyana, and they started to seek for highland area, and they settled. Like I said, they had some settlements in the Pomeroon and the Moruca area, the Waini, and so on. Coming eastward, they entered into the Pomeroon and the tributaries around the Pomeroon. They one of the parties that came across, they may have entered the other rivers, but they couldn't really. Maybe had to get away far from the Caribs, because we had Caribs following them in the northwest, so they had to flee eastward. And they first settled in the Maikoni River. There is a tributary, but there's about 80 or so miles from the coast, and they traveled up and went in a tributary we now know as Captain's Creek. And they settled in the highland area where there's sand. The Americans like to live in sandy area because it was easy to build their camps and so. And it was always a bit more cleaner than the muddy areas. Now the first settlement we had in the Damar region was called Kibleri. This between the Mahaica and the Maikoni rivers. So we are told that around 1865 or 1885, I think it was, that there was an epidemic at Kibleri, and the people died, quite a lot of them died out there. And afterwards they did not want to live there anymore, and people decided to move away. So apparently one family, or maybe a group, left Kibler in a boat, traveled down the Maikoni River. When they turned west, when they arrived at the mouth of the Maikoni, and they reached another river named Mahiko. They entered into the Mahiko River and started to travel up. Maybe it was too late to travel, so their first stop apparently was at by a place they called Baibu. And maybe still they don't really stay too close to the sea because of fear of the Caribs attacking them. So they after that, sometime later, they start to travel up the Mahiko. And they From Bible, they went to a place they call Karasbai, and later days they settled at the place they call Pakuri. They settled in a tributary we call Pakuri. They stayed there for some time and then they left there and started to travel again. There seemed to be evidence that they may have settled for a short time at a place we call Urabu, and then not a place not too far from there we call Maduni. They stayed there for some time and then they left to go farther up the river because apparently the Caribs were behind them, so they had to move. They traveled from the Maduni area and they continue Yamura. There's a tributary of the Maika they call Yamura, and they went into the source and they formed a settlement there. After staying there for some time, they were chased out from Yamura by, which maybe we can say was an earthquake, or our forefathers seem to feel that they were attacked by water spirits, and the village went down underwater and killed some of them. They soon afterward moved from there and started to come further up the Maiko. Then they, along the way, they stopped. The first stop after then was at a place we now know as Paradise, about 5 miles or so from the now village where we live. But before they arrived here, they met with the Caribs at the place we now know as the Taboo, and they fought a fight there, and afterward they managed to get away from the Caribs, and they continued the journey upriver. From Paradise, they continued the journey and they arrived at the area we now call Barbarshandla, and they stayed there for some time. While they were living there, the menfolk would move all around looking for animals and fish and so, and they came across this highland where we now live. So they left that area, came backwards at a tributary we call Pakuri, and they stayed around the mouth of that creek, and from there to they will come and hunt and fish and so, and on their regular trips they would see this area. But the main reason, okay, the main reason for them moving upland was the housing area at the landing there was flooded regularly. No, but I think it was seasonal every year, and then it was muddy too. So some hunter may have told them about there is a sandy area upwards, and they decided to move from there and come to this new location. They started to build as a village. They were here for a few years maybe before the Christian church heard about them and they followed them, and they met the priest and so on. They started to erect a school, a church, and the village was founded around those two buildings. So we now have a settled village having a school and a church. While they were living here, they knew about the Demar River, so they tried to cut a trail from here to Demar River, and some of them even went and settled on the Demar River, the village that is now called Santo. And there's a sister village nearby they call Arawaks. So we have named there as one Santa Arawaks area. Coming back to Pakuri now. Come back to Pakuri. The people decide that the Caribs don't find them anymore, and they decided to settle here permanently. They, there was 2 or 3 brothers from the Demar River with the surname Bernard. We don't know their first name, but they were called Bernard. They came here and they decided to marry and settle and so on. But they were more we have to say educated, or they were more familiar with Georgetown, I think, because the Demerara River, they, they, um, the English, I think, was the first set of people who went up the Demerara River and found the bauxite, and so there was quite a few of people from everywhere going there and find jobs to work on there. Apparently the Bernards visited Pakuri, and they found the woman, they married them, and they got children, they decided to settle. But because they were more familiar with the outside, they became leaders. And one brother was elected captain, and the village grew. It became bigger and bigger until the English church spread around here, and they arrived at Pakuri on the 22nd of March, 1886. They landed at the landing, they walked up the landing, and that was the birth of St Cuthbert. There was, it was on that day that Cuthbert, the English saint, that was his birthday. The first captain they elected was called Bernard. We only know his last name. And some years he managed to carry the village, and later on his son succeeded him as captain, a man by the name of Emmanuel Bernard. So the church was established stronger and stronger, and the captain became the church leader in the village, as we would call him now, the catechist. And there was another guy by the name of James Dundas, who also became a strong church leader. There was Charlotte Moore. Yes, he became a church leader, and the two of them, Emmanuel and James, kept the church going, and at that time there was only one church, the Anglican Church, and that remained like that for years, which still exists today. From then on, we've had several captains, the captain's son-in-law and the Captain Bernard grandson, and now we are having other members of the community. So that's the journey of the people to St Cuthbert. I missed out on some people after the epidemic. Some people had branched off to the upper reaches of the Maikoni River, and they settled and made a village they called Maraikubai, which still exists to this day. They also had the Anglican church, Anglican school, and so. And the people were all followers of the Christian faith. So that's how we remain to this day. But then that's the journey that we made years ago.
Thank you to all the donors that made this project possible. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye until the next time.